So can you say that in reality ijma is just an argumentum ad populum? Are there scholars who critiqued ijma? Are there scholars who critiqued ijma? Apun. Am I not a scholar? Ya salam. Do I have to look around for scholars who have critiqued ijma? I is sitting right here. I have criticized ijma. You know, this one time I was in Al-Azhar, Jami Al-Azhar, yeah? So, in Cairo. So we were having this lesson with the sheikh. And the sheikh was speaking about some topic. And he mentioned some hadith. I'm trying to recall now what the hadith was. But it was a really popular one. A really popular hadith. And everybody really knew this hadith. So, and he said, نعم لكن هذا الحديث يعني في الحقيقة ضعيف يعني قد ضعفه العلماء. So he said this hadith in reality is just weak, like ulama have declared it weak. And he carried on talking. So I was like, wow, okay. I thought that was like an, like a widely, generally, like unquestionably popular and accepted hadith. So I was intrigued. So at the end of the discussion, I said, Sheikh, ذكرت هذا الحديث فيعني من هم العلماء الذين يعني نقدوا هذا الحديث وضعفوه. So I said, like, you mentioned this hadith. So who were the scholars that critiqued and weakened this hadith? So he goes, أنا. He goes, ضعفته أنا. He said, I declared it weak. I am the ulama. I thought, Allah, ishtail. That's what he called ishtail. So when you're saying, who are the ulama that critiqued ijma? I am the ulama that critiqued ijma. No, a lot of people have critiqued ijma. Ijma was a joke. Ijma is the myth of the fuqaha. And I've got a segment on ijma, by the way. Many people critiqued it from the Salaf. People think Imam Shafi'i was actually supporting ijma. I read his argument differently. I read that Imam Shafi'i in his Risala is critiquing the ijma. So it's interesting how you read what Imam Shafi'i is saying. Because he's saying, how do we... Ijma means consensus. Now, there is no, first of all, consensus on what the definition of consensus is. There is no ijma on ijma. So the argument's ridiculous from the word go. So, and Imam Shafi'i is kind of throwing a few spanners in. He's showing the argument, but then he throws a few spanners in at the end and just leaves it. He's like... And then it's like... that Saw music comes on, like in Saw at the end when everything's unraveling, and Imam Shafi'i just walks away. Like as that door shuts and the guy's like, oh, everything, it makes sense now. A jigsaw is unraveled and Imam Shafi'i just walks away. And that's the... So he throws a few spanners in by trying to say that, well, it's a consensus of the scholars. How do we even determine who the scholars are? And then he says, because there's no scholar except somebody considers him a jahil. So he says, we have no kind of unanimous understanding on who the scholars are. So how, like, this is a spanner, major spanner in the works. Then he throws another spanner by saying, well, where do these scholars exist? Like, do they exist in the desert? Has somebody actually gone out and counted all the scholars in the world? How could you even do that? So these are some major spanners that Imam Shafi'i throws in this whole equation. And then Imam Ahmad just kills it. He just goes, I got this, don't worry. He says, Man idda'a al-ijma' fahuwa kadhib. Whosoever claims ijma' is a liar. Liar. This one liar, this one kadhab. So, and the irony is, you can't get any more explicit than that. And then they're just like, no, but really. He's like, Kadhib. They're like, no, but really, Sheikh, really. And everybody just ignores what he said. So it's like, wow. Yeah. And then other people, Ibn Hazm obviously rips the whole argument of Ijma to pieces. Shawkani problematizes the whole thing. I mean, many people have spoken